The introductory Brian Schottenheimer press conference is over. We will break it down, the good and the bad. Do you believe in Brian Schottenheimer, though, as the Dallas Cowboys head coach? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote for me in the comments section of today's show. Let's get to the good news coming out of this, because I got a lot of bad news I want to get into, and it's not really about the guy that was supposed to be the focal point of today's press conference, the head coach, Brian Schottenheimer. I think, and the bar is very, very low, I think it is very clear that Brian Schottenheimer did a better job than the Jones boys did. And he was very emotional at the beginning. I don't see that as a negative, frankly, as far as I'm concerned. I thought he handled a lot of stuff well in terms of the overall, talking to media, being a guy that can stand up in front of a locker room. I think he checked off all of those boxes. There was one weird comment about, X's and O's don't matter. I don't think that was meant as like, I don't care about it. I think it was more of, it's not the priority right now. I will file that away for the future, though. Thought he had good answers on his time in Seattle. And Pete Carroll kind of challenged him like, hey, these Niners-Rams offense and Shanahan McVay are working really well. Can we bring some of that over? Which adds to the theory/idea that Schotty was a big factor in those changes made to the offense back in 2023. He will call the plays. Jerry made that one pretty clear in his press conference, or in the press conference. Again, Jerry was in charge still. We'll rip on Steven and Jerry here in a little bit. I do think his overall comments about his offense, the bar is very low again. The comments he made about like what he looks for in his offense, what he wants the offense to be, I thought were the best comments made by a massive margin. He mentioned cut splits, which I interpret as like split zone, more inside zone. I'd like more outside zone, but there's a philosophy there. It's fine. Motion and shifts. He's a big fan of that. Cool. Wants to marry the run game and the passing game. I still think there are times where under McCarthy, the run game and the passing game didn't look identical. They look different, especially on play action. I think that's why some of those play action plays didn't work that well. So that is a big deal. More tempo. Cool. That always works well. I like that. The Cowboys have worked well with tempo with Dak Prescott. Mentioned the run game, leading the NFL in run game. Okay, that's, I do worry a little bit about being a very run-heavy team. But I thought the overall comments on the offense were good. He made the right comment about, you marry your scheme to your players. If you're not changing your scheme to maximize your players, that's not what we want to do. Now, every coach says that. I need to see these things in action for more than just a 5-game sample size, which has been the issue at times for different coaches and might speak to a front office meddling issue there. But this type of stuff was a really strong answer from Brian Schottenheimer, and I hope ends up getting implemented into the offense. So from the Brian Schottenheimer only perspective, greatest press conference for me. A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know in the comments section of today's show at the pinned comment. The ad comes here on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Now, if that was the good, which took about 3 minutes of the show, the next 7 to 12 is going to be all the shit I hated. Jerry Jones sucked again. That was an awful performance. The first question that is asked of Jerry Jones is the most softball formation. The most softball formation or question ever of, hey, why'd you hire Brian Schottenheimer? And he's just didn't answer for like, it felt like 30 seconds, probably only like 10, and goes, in all my 35 years owning the Cowboys, I've only missed one Senior Bowl. What are we talking about here? That's not the question. And he kind of like eventually answered it talking about his dad, Marty, which, I don't want to do Nepo baby stuff for a Nepo baby family, but whatever. Saying it's not in his comfort zone. It's as big as you could take, but also it's not a Hail Mary. So we're kind of contradicting ourselves there. Made comments about how he saw, Schottenheimer defer to McCarthy at times, which just makes me feel like it's a yes man. Doesn't make me feel good about that. And he went out of his way multiple times to try to address different comments that have been made about, it was not a thorough search. Jerry claimed it was a thorough search. No, it wasn't. It was not a thorough search. It kind of came off like when he made the comment, Schotty wants to call the plays and we're going to have him call the plays. It kind of made it seem like, Well, they didn't find a coach that wanted to have Brian Schottenheimer as the OC, so they went ahead and made him the head coach. That's how that comes off to me. And the last time I recall that happening in the NFL was when the Niners hired Jim Tomsula because they wanted him as their defensive coordinator, couldn't find a head coach to get him there, and then made it happen. And they hired Tomsula, and it was a disaster. Now, the bar is pretty low with Tomsula, so I think Schottenheimer will be better. But Jerry just doesn't have it anymore. He's up there rambling, talking nonsense at the end of the time. I don't even want to have him. I don't want Jerry involved in press conferences anymore. I would have much rather listened to Brian Schottenheimer talk for another 15, 20 minutes and not have the first question go like 15 minutes long and it doesn't get answered. That's like, I think it was Clarence Hill at one point was like, asked him a question, Jerry didn't answer, so Clarence asked it again. That's how it's supposed to be, man. Answer the question one time. He was very defensive, had more cap nonsense. Jerry's a mess. And again, he and his son Steven, who we'll get to here in a little bit, are the single biggest problems facing this franchise. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time's got a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. Always keep an eye out for the super deal. It is an elite level tier option there. It is the best deal that is possible. It is the best value for a particular event. You can see it there in that Mavs Wizards game as well with the nice little super there for section 118. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today, create your account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off that first purchase. But again, terms do apply. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. All right, next up on the press conference takeaways, Stephen Jones sucks. The audacity of Stephen Jones to continuously use air quotes around serious things honestly makes me think that he doesn't understand what air quotes are supposed to be used for. His comment of like, this drought people say we're in. No, Stephen. This is not something people are saying. This is a fact. You have not won anything that truly matters in nearly 30 years. This is not a drought people say we're in. No, it is a fact. Today, people say it's Monday. No, today is Monday. That is the reality of the world you live in. You are in a drought. You do not get to be so dismissive about, people don't think we've had playoff success. No, you haven't had playoff success. That is a fact. Implied maybe they'll do some free agency movement. I have my doubts. I truly do. I would love that they spend money. They need to spend money because they have to be more competitive. They are not close enough to just run it back with Schottenheimer in charge and think it's actually going to work out. I fear for the future of this Cowboys organization when it is only Stephen Jones in charge and there's no influence and opinions and final yes being answered by Jerry Jones. He kept using those air quotes on very serious topics and was like using it to be like, oh yeah, people say that, but it's not true. I cannot stand when Stephen Jones gets up there and talks. I can't stand it. Because every time he says something, it just sounds stupid, or it's wrong, or it's outright disrespectful to the fan base. And I don't think Stephen gives a single solitary F about any of us, and I think he thinks that he's smarter than everybody, and he can just lie to our faces and gaslight us. I don't like Stephen Jones, and I mean that on a professional level, and frankly on a personal level. I don't like the guy at all. What is your confidence level? This is for the Jones boys then. In them. 1 to 10 is your scale. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Get those votes for me in the comments section of today's show. Now, no surprise, there were also plenty of players in attendance for the Dallas Cowboys Dak Prescott was there. I saw Tyler Smith was there. I should go back and listen to Schotty shouted out a bunch of names. I think Josh Butler was there. Kalen Carson was there. A lot of guys that are DeMarvin Overshown. A lot of guys that are like in the rehab stages of stuff. They were available, which isn't much of a surprise. There were a lot of, I thought, mostly good comments from Schottenheimer about Dak Prescott. Steven did not throw Dak under the bus. Jerry kind of did when talking about the contract, which I didn't. You could have just paid him, Jerry. That's on you, buddy. I thought there were some good comments made by Sean. Like, as I've said before, there is a reason that a lot of the coaches around the NFL are high on Dak, and Schotty explained several of those in the end. But again, I have bigger issues with just like the way that the Jones boys ran this stuff is my single biggest problem. Now, we have free Cowboys videos for you each and every single day. We will do offensive coordinator candidates as well. Hit that sub button. Help me feed my family. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. Number 6, this one I'm just going to tack on here. The Matt Eberflus hire is coming. He's going to interview today because that already is the case. It's his job. Unless there's like some massive contract issue, it's going to be Flus, and there's no backup plan in place because they're interviewing a Dolphins guy, Ryan Crowe, that is not viewed as an honest contender for this job, I don't believe, and then one of Flus's assistants who will probably be on staff. So when, not if, you see Matt Eberflus coming as the Cowboys defensive coordinator.